What's going on? I'm Bobby J. This is City Chapters Podcast. Today's chapter, we're with Cody Duncan. Cody Duncan is the owner of AutoSkin Detail, and he's the co-host of Happy to Be Here podcast alongside Exact Change and Islo Matisse, who just were on the podcast here recently. Cody's a longtime friend of mine. We've been friends for over 10 plus years, no doubt. And I've known him since he was doing music and seen him make a lot of transitions. He's seen me make a lot of transitions. I respect Cody a lot and his insights, and he's just fun to be around. You're always going to laugh when you're around Cody. So if you know Cody, you know his energy is always positive, and you definitely going to get a laugh in. So super stoked to have my brother on, and we're going to get into it. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, dude? Thank you for that introduction. I'm very happy to be here once again. My name's Cody, and me and my buddies host a podcast called Happy to Be Here. And we're love to be in this city and just love to be picking up energy that you're putting down. So
thank you, man. Trying to do my thing with this podcast and just get people's stories out there. You know?
I remember when you started this podcast, and I was like, that is fucking sick. It is so I remember City Chapters at its infancy, and I remember a message coming through from me to you, like, brother, that is fucking genius. And being able to take something and kind of like move it around, and it kind of applies anywhere you put it. And so kudos to you too for building your brand and getting to where you are. So
thank you. Thank you. It's good to have people that see the vision, because I haven't really executed it nowhere near where I know it's capable of going to, but I'm in the process. And, I really do believe, like you said, like I can apply this model with city chapters in Spokane, but any city, and make connections along the way.
Yep.
So thank you, man. I appreciate the compliment.
Yep. And sometimes when you're hustling and you're like trying to pursue and like achieve something you didn't have, you need people to tell you from the outside looking in how it looks. And it's tough to ask that question. You know what I mean? It's tough to be like, how's everything look? And me and you we've talked a lot about that, about how like, it kind of it is going as good as you perceive it. You know what I mean? Which kind of pigeonholes you, but at the same time, if you've ran any kind of business or done anything with the public eye, you'll understand that, because like even if you're doing really well, or you're it's really based off of how people perceive your message, not how you push it out there. Which is why like sometimes you'll find like an inferior service or product like go far, and it's like because people are just soaking it up, and then vice versa. You'll see stuff that needs to get more eyes on it that doesn't get the eyes on it because it's not hitting that level. So, it's an ongoing battle with me. I'm a business owner as well. Like, I own a car wash, and I'm constantly thinking about how I'm perceived, in quest of being free, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I really don't care what people think, but if it means me not being free, then I kind of care what people think, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, and you obviously care, what your customer thinks on the product you deliver.
100%.
You I guess we can dive into that for a second. So a lot of times we don't get to this kind of thing till the end of the podcast, but I think maybe it's important to let people know a little bit more about the details of your business. No pun intended, but it's a detail business. You said car wash, but you actually specialize in like getting in there, deep cleaning a car. And so, how did this come about? How'd you get into the business? And, what's the differentiators of your detail business compared to others?
Okay. So good question. So how I got into this was my first like real job outside of like working at a call center was at Downtown Honda back a long time ago. I was a shuttle driver in a car, and I washed cars. My brother got me the job. I remember the dude's name was Brett Hockenberry. He was a service manager forever. And he said, I'll give you the job under one condition. I like you. I like your brother, but you got to cut your hair. I had braids in my hair. And they, they were long too. Like I had grown my hair out for probably like 5 or 6 years at that point.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, I just ready for a change. And so I said, all right. So I came to work. We started the next day with the haircut, went down to Q cut my braids off. And then fast forward a couple years, I was washing cars. And one day I got really good at it. I was giving people shuttle drives all around town and picking them up, and customer service was on point. One day at lunch, I dressed up in like my best clothes, and I went to the sales manager at Downtown Honda. His name was Steve Combs back in the day. And I said, can I have a meeting with you at lunch today? I'll just come into your office. He's like, yeah, sure. So I go in there with a polo on, some slacks, some nice shoes, and I like went into the bathroom and changed up to that.
Yeah.
And I shook his hand like I was a new person. And I was just like, Steve, I really want to sell cars for you. I was 19 years old. And he looked at me and he laughed. He went, Cody, you're a lot attendant. Like, you just clean the cars. And so I said, oh, okay. And then like, I didn't have no rebuttal at that point. I didn't really have much sales experience. But so I kind of just was like, I just took that. And I was just like, oh.
Really? Yeah.
And I mean, maybe that was a test. If I would have tried to like sell him, maybe he would have said, oh, okay, maybe you have some sales skills. But I didn't rebuttal it. I kind of just like awkwardly left his office and was like, okay, I'm a lot attendant. Well, fast forward a year, I had some self-talk, and I remember telling myself, you can do better than this. So I moved away from Downtown Honda and I went out to the Valley, and I got a job at the Hyundai lot. My very first day, I paired up with my buddy, his name is Jamal Jones, and he took me under his wing and he showed me everything there is about sales. So from that point, also a buddy of mine named Thomas, all these guys just schooled me in how to be a professional, basically. It was the equivalent of education, is the equivalent of a university degree, but you're doing it like hard knock style on the car lot.
Right.
So did that for a few years, and I really honed in my like customer service, building rapport, being able to qualify, which of course just means like really figure out what people are after and like not really use their words to do it, like base their actions, So I got really good at that, and then one day I kept getting fired from selling cars because I was good at selling cars, but my issue was I was just young and dumb. So after I kept getting fired from selling cars, I just basically took a step back and decided, okay, I need to I don't want to do this, work 7 days a week the rest of my life. And so I took a step back and figured, what can I do that supports this car business that I've gained some traction in, but doesn't dive me completely into it. And so that's when I landed on detail shop, car wash. So in that time when I left car business to where I actually opened my business, I did go to business school. So I was that kid, without too many words, when I was young, I had been running businesses my whole life. I'll just put it at that. So once I got into school, I was that kid sitting in the front row with all this street smarts business shit that I'd been doing. But now I'm getting definitions for things. I'm getting answers to questions I've had for my whole life. I'm figuring out like profit and loss and all that shit. And I was just glued to that shit. And like, I would just sit in the front of the class and just really like, I was like the teacher's pet answering all the fucking questions. And then once I got out of, I actually didn't even finish business school. I got just enough knowledge to start a fucking business. And then like, as soon as it was a summer, and I just thought to myself, well, if any time is now, I was actually working at a detail shop, and I got an opportunity. I jumped both feet in, and that was when I turned 30 years old. I'm 38 today.
So the opportunity was to buy the detail shop you were working at?
No. Actually, I have this weird mindset where like I'm constantly trying to like grow and improve things, even if I don't own them.
Yeah.
And so, it's just a value add thing like wherever you're in a room, I tend to lean towards how can I like add value. It's like a double-ended sword though, because like not every room's needing value. And so sometimes people are kind of like, what
are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? We've got the value down in here. Yeah. And then, you got to step back. But yeah, so I was constantly trying to help him grow his business. He actually said, why don't you just start your own detail shop? And so fast forward, that's what I did. It took me years, but eventually I got out of, I just kept growing little by little. My very first day in business with my sales background, I introduced myself to a car lot that very first day, which mind you, I've told this story before. This was my 30th birthday that my business license came in the mail. My business ages as I age, the exact day. So therefore, when I turn 39, my business will be 9 years old.
That's cool.
It just happened that way. We applied for the business license maybe in May, and it just happened to slide in on the day of my birthday. So that was like
when is your birthday?
June the 5th.
June the 5th.
So I'm a Gemini on like every level. Like if you look it up, like I'm like definition Gemini. Mm-hmm. And so fast forward, I'm in business. I'm 5 or 6 years old into business. I finally convinced my wife that, I've got it. And that like the value, there's no amount of value you can put in a different company that more than what you can put in our family business. And so within the last 3 years, my wife quit her job and she's full-time with us at the shop. And my son's there. We've got like a whole family dynamic. And so that's, I don't even know. I'm very lucky, very, very lucky. I've worked hard and, the fight isn't over, but like we're low key in a family sense, we're fortunate and we're pretty fucking free, which is huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't even, my words probably aren't even doing it justice. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, man, that's cool. It's cool to hear you talk about the process of getting to that business, because I've never really spoke to you directly about that before. So what are some like, what do you say is the differentiator of your detail shop compared to others? Like what do people need to know about AutoSkin Detail if they want to get their car detailed and such?
Well, what the main thing is that since I spent all that time in the actual industry buying or like selling cars and stuff, I have like an eye. I was that salesman that would grab a car. Someone would be coming in to see, say, a Honda Civic. I'd grab the Honda Civic off of the used car lot, take it over to the detail shop, and like clean it up myself real quick. Even though there's detailers running all around. Yeah. And I had like a certain eye for what people would maybe be looking for. And so differentiator, that would be it, is that like I'm looking for something that maybe other people may not be looking at. And then also I've owned and driven and had and been around cars my whole life. So I can kind of know just by looking at something what it may need, what it may not need. So to answer your question, what would differentiate us is I'd seem to take the time to actually figure out what people are after. So are you cleaning a car up to sell it? Are you cleaning it up because you paid a bunch of money for it and you just want to protect your investment? Are you cleaning it up because your daughter's taking it? Did your daughter have it and now it needs to be gone? Is it transferring? And so I qualify people. And so therefore I know their expectation. And then when my work comes, I of course exceed their expectation, in a fractional amount. I'll go above their expectation a small amount. And then when they pick up their vehicle, they're happy and they tell their friends. So that's what would differentiate us, is we listen. Other detail shops, it's kind of a little bit more like, drop it off. We're going to do what we do. If you don't like it, we'll compensate you. Go away. I'm more like I try to like really stop and listen. So my first few years, 5 years, we did all wholesale and I really didn't worry about retail. In the past 3 or 4 years, we've been really focusing on retail and kind of wholesale, using it as like to fill in those holes.
Yeah.
So, and the difference is huge. Wholesale, of course, we're going off of numbers. Retail, it's one car at a time and it's a little more of a higher dollar thing. So
yeah. Margins are way higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys are located up off of Garland still?
Yeah, Garland District, North Spokane. Yep, right by the theater there.
Mm-hmm. I've had my car cleaned there 2 times, and each time I have been freaking amazed how nice it is when I get it back. It's like a brand new car. So I can personally attest that, Cody and his crew, they do really great work up there. And anybody that's looking to get their car cleaned and trying to look, just feel fresh and get that whip suited, or like he said, if you're selling a car, Cody's the man. And he really does have really great customer service. I'm sure you can already pick up on his personality if you don't know him, and the kind of energy you're going to get from this business owner. He's like this to everybody he meets, very welcoming, warming. So definitely, support AutoSkin Detail if you looking to get your car looking super clean.
Dope.
Not just clean. I'm talking about spick, span, all that,
I appreciate it. Yeah, when we originally started the business, it was one of those things where like we were kicking around names. I had a binder with no space on it with 200 names on there.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see my refining process as like it went down. And I was the 2 names I like battled myself. I had to sleep on it was, at the time it was available. Now it's not, which would have been Spokane Auto Spa and then AutoSkin. And so the reason Auto Spa itself wasn't available, but Spokane Auto Spa was. And
for
then
the website, or
to be able to secure the trademark,
the trademark,
so I can actually like run business under that name and not worry about people being like, oh, that's my business,
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I went with AutoSkin because 1, it was unique. 2, it speaks and it says, it says things like, because beauty starts kind of within. So it's like, oh yeah, skin, like he does it all, and he takes care of the outside, obviously, but, so AutoSkin. And then also just, it was unique enough to where when you hear it one time, it's kind of like, oh, I've heard that.
Yeah.
And it starts with an A. So
it also allows you to branch out if you were to ever to other cities and different things like that. When a business is named Spokane such and such, it it has to be done right. Like Brendan, he did it with Spokecast, which takes Spokane and makes it unique, blending it with podcasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that works. But like people that do like Spokane furniture, like it already feels like it's gonna be a cheaper business.
Yes.
And I don't know why that's just my branding viewpoint. So you have to, like, if you're gonna incorporate your city name into your brand, like how do you do that and not be like just I don't know, corny, Chotsky, whatever you want to say, right? Like it has to be done well, and also, like I said, you don't corner yourself by being just Spokane Auto Spa. AutoSkin can go anywhere.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's also, it's really weird because when you have that conversation with yourself about like, oh, this could go anywhere, you have to remember that there is some businesses that somehow figured that out. Like, have you ever heard of Omaha Steaks?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Kentucky Fried Chicken? It's weird. And if you really think about it, there's a math problem to take like a local deal and like kind of make it a destination.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an older thing.
But you have to do it right, is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
There's the key of
Spokane furniture ain't gonna be in Florida.
it don't matter, like for right. It's,
you know what I mean? Like there's certain things that like it has to be for it to go anywhere. It has to be like there's a reason why you keep that name, that location with the name. Omaha Steaks, yeah, that's fucking farmland and there's cows everywhere. You know what I mean? Kentucky Fried Chicken, that's the South and people eat fried chicken out there. So there is way to do that. And if you are gonna tie your name to a business, just make sure that you're like geographically thinking like in like a whole deal. Right. Otherwise, just don't do that, right?
I mean, like Patagonia, that's named after an area, a region.
Oh, no way. I didn't even know that.
It's in South America. It's a whole really crazy landscape down there. It's insane.
Oh, okay. So therefore, that's why you have to have that type of like jackets with the like
Yeah,
down
their
in 'em.
outdoor gear is based upon like some of the harshest environments that exist in the Patagonia region.
Yes.
And the North Face too. The North Face is from a certain face of, I forget which mountain or whatever, but it's the North Face
It's
because
the
of
North
that.
Face.
Yeah, it's like the north side of a certain specific mountain that it's named after or something like that. And so like all, these brand, the Great P&W, like, but even, that restricts, and that can be fine. You just got to know what space you're going to operate in.
Yes.
Does the market support that space alone? Like obviously, Joel from the Great P&W, it supports.
Oh yeah. People love to see
supports.
them pine trees.
Yeah.
People love to see those
And
those bears.
Yeah. We said it the same time.
We did. Someone just came in for a detail the other day and had the bears fucking.
Yeah,
and
the
it was
bears
like,
are everywhere.
oh, they're everywhere.
We got lots of bears in the city now.
Another big thing about starting a business. This is just a little tidbit for anybody who's right on the verge. They've got maybe the skills. They have like a specialized skill. They know that like within their job, they're valuable and they could branch off and do it. This is a little tidbit for them, is that need based. And if I bet you if you go through anytime I've ever said, you'll be like, there could be cut in where Cody's like need based.
Say that again.
Need based. You need to open a business for shit people need.
Oh, need based.
Not want based.
Yeah.
And so clothing, like you need a shirt, right? Like, graphic
Sometimes,
design,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Oh, I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying like if you want to be you could be free tomorrow messing around with need based. You could you could take $5,000 and buy a lawnmower and get a pickup truck and a couple weed eaters and you could be free tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just for people who that like when their idea of being free is like really minute, they're just like, dog, if I just don't have to work for this guy anymore and I could just create my own income, like I'm free. Like it's waiting for you tomorrow. Grass grows every fucking where.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Cars are every fucking where. You know, houses need painted, weeds need pulled, gardens need tilled. There's so many things that are needed. And if you could surround yourself around and support these needs, you can be free right away. Now, if you want to cast something out there and kind of like do what you, I don't want to say what you love, but like if you have a passion for something you want to turn into a business, that's a little different hustle. Yeah. That's more like when I was pursuing music. Mm-hmm. Okay. Spotify came out. That shit blew me out of the fucking water, bro. The Spotify was not around when I was making music, but I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like everything's streaming for free. I'm sitting here trying to sell CDs. Yeah. I'm out, bro. Yeah. And if you want to talk about that, we can about music.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Okay.
But I want to stay on this vein for a little bit because I love branding. I love the name development of a brand. I think that's one of the funnest times that I've experienced in starting my companies or just like talking with other people that want to start a company and I'm helping them develop a name. The name is important, and it needs to be catchy, quick, easy. Like AutoSkin sticks, like it says and encapsulates things really quickly. So I feel like you did well at, naming your company because I've seen other detail names and I'm just like, I don't know. It's just like, okay, yes, it's a detail shop or a detail business, but yours is just like AutoSkin, like, you're cleaning the skin of the car. You're cleaning the exterior, you're cleaning the interior, well,
thank you. And it was like what you said earlier. It kind of keeps you up at night because you think about, damn, if this works, I got to call myself this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you kind of don't think about that when you're making a business. I mean, you too, City Chapters. I remember hitting you with the message when I very first saw City Chapters, like, Bobby, like, cause I'm one of those people where I feel like I see a vision, and I'm like, Bobby, fucking genius. I love that fucking name. You were kind of like, not like you were on the fence, but you already knew how to explain it. And you were like, okay, so this is, and you took me kind of through it. And I'm like, dude, that's genius. Yeah. And, it just takes a little bit of you. I mean, you just got to think about that shit and you got to throw that out. Do you do what is it called when you run stuff by your homies and God, this is, when you're God, I learned it in marketing.
Like
when you're like testing a new product.
Brainstorming.
Yeah, but there's a name for it. Brennan knows it. He's behind this glass over here, just like you fucking idiots. No. He closes the door. He closes the door. I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember what it is. But basically, it's where like 5 people, 6 people, or 100.
Mastermind.
Nope. There's somebody who's going to be listening to this podcast. It's like, these guys are fucking idiots. But it's basically where a bunch of people will come in and you just set the product on the table. Mm-hmm. And they then, like, there's really no... They come in and they look at it and they go, huh. And then they just start kind of...
Intervention.
Yeah, because this is...
Don't do this.
This is zero alcohol, so there's not that. But anyway, so...
Oh, no, I don't...
I know. No, I need an intervention.
I wasn't even thinking of the like it being alcohol or not.
But that stuff's kind of important, kind of running stuff by your friends, asking them what they think of it.
And doing it with friends that are going to tell you the truth.
Yes.
That's a big thing. Don't bring it to your yes friends. Bring it to your friend that's kind of an asshole, really. Like, he's the one that's going to tell you what you need to hear. And it's hard sometimes, like, hearing the hard truth from your friends that really love you and want to see you do well. Like, I had a talk with one of my homies this morning. We were working out, and he just kind of went in on me about like the cycles that I go through about trying to make City Chapter successful and how I'm on and then I'm off and then I'm on and then I'm off. And he's like, I hope you're on forever this time, And I'm like, part of me is like, he's so right. And part of me, it's like lit a fire under my ass. Like now, because I kind of thrive when people doubt me, you know what I mean? And when someone directly tells me like, we'll see, bro, this time, it's like, fuck that,
pat you on the fucking
like,
back.
Yeah,
like pat you on the back, and they're just like, I hope you, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah, it's like, but it's also like I was talking to him about just like me putting my ego to the side, because initially it's like I want to be offended, like, oh, bro, you don't believe in me, or like, but really it's just my ego trying to get in the way of the truth of that. I know it's been hard to believe in myself in business. Business is really hard. You have ups and downs, and it takes consistent work, which that's where ultimately I failed the most at, is just being like consistently working on something. I can do it for sprints, and then it's like, I don't like whatever. And like, the biggest thing too that I came around to is like, it doesn't matter what you feel like doing. A lot of people want to tell you in business, like, do what you love. Like the expectation that you're going to wake up every single day for your business loving what you do. And you have to have a love for your goal, your end mission, I believe. But you're not going to love every single aspect of what you do in business, and you have to do it regardless. Mm-hmm. And if you can't,
like you love it, it's crazy.
Like you love it, yeah. Yep. And that's a challenging thing mentally. Yes, the challenges that I've gone through in business, I wouldn't recommend it. Unless you have a high pain tolerance, you're resilient, or if you're, like my friend, he's just like, he doesn't think too much. He just goes and gets it. And I overthink. And that's something that I'm trying to learn from him, is just like, action is where it happens, bro. Like, you could think all you want, read all you want, with some of his advice, like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're not executing, then what's kind of ultimately, you're not going to thrive in business. That's for sure. You can do all the self-growth, and that's great. But if you want to be good in business, like, it needs your action every day. Yep.
I agree with you. And I relate and deal with a lot of the same struggles where, I have like a weekly goal, monthly goal, yearly goals. And when they don't get hit, sometimes I think to myself, I'm hard on myself. Mm-hmm. And then, there's also that vein in me, right, when I'm hard on myself, that's just like, you don't have to hit, like, I'm my worst critic.
Mm-hmm. And me too, for sure.
And I used to have a lot of kind of self-doubt type talk and stuff with myself, but since I've really like had the responsibility of supporting the whole family, and this is what we do
This is it.
I've had to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I've had to kind of have that push and that determination regardless of how I feel every day. And you know, it was good. It was a growing pain that was really good for me. You know what I mean? It was just kind of getting out of my own way, putting on my boots and just heading down to the shop, you know?
It's funny because, like, I feel that as I've gotten older, I'm kind of, like, remembering certain aspects of beliefs and, like, things that I had when I was younger, though I was completely dysfunctional at that time. But there was certain mentalities of strength that I had then where it was like, I'm going to get done whatever I want to get done. Nothing can stop me from doing that. But I went about it in a lot of ways that were not healthy, you know, with partying, drinking, you know, and so that really took away from a lot of my purposes. And I was applying my efforts in the total wrong areas, you know, like,
Yep.
for lesser words, we'll just say it was the wrong areas where I was trying to make money and all that kind of stuff. But I've returned to some of that, but with the evolution of what I've gained over these young adulthood years that I've experienced. And ultimately, I've done so much self-reflection, and I think that's been really good for me. It's helped me heal and different things. But in business, it really isn't about what you want to do. It's not about how you feel. You know, life is not. I've been really resistant against that kind of concept, and I still think I'm working it out. But you know, life isn't about how you feel. It's about what you want to attain and what you have to do to get there. And when it's something that you aspire to, it's gonna be hard to get to.
No
And
matter
like,
what.
and it doesn't matter how talented you are, how you believe that you're destined for great things, and none of that. It only matters the effort that you put in, and you know, put up and shut up kind of thing. Like,
Yeah. We all seen that situation where like you were good in the neighborhood you lived in. Like I'm balling down at Grant Park.
right.
Then you go up to Comstock and you're just like, holy shit, this is a whole different environment. And then you realize that this is just Spokane.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh shit, there's people who want it more than me. And like I have to straight up focus up. I have to put in that effort. And as a kid, I remember it was like, can you hang on any court in Spokane? Like that was like a measure when we were young, before cell phones and all that.
Yeah.
It was, you know, at least me and my friends, we'd show up with a team ready to go, you know, we're trying to, and it's just, I apply a lot of stuff to business, bro. I apply so much to business. It's kind of a sickness. Like I'll be walking down the street and I'll think like that value add thing. I'll be thinking, oh, you know, maybe I should be getting into cleaning windows. Look at all these dirty windows out here. And it's just because like of the way maybe we or I was raised, where like, you know, deep down, I think everything could just, well, it is true, but deep down, I think everything the rug can just be pulled out from me, you know? Whereas if you ask people and they're just like, how could it be pulled out from you, bro? You own the business, your wife works there, everybody's doing what you ask. There's no rug that can be pulled. But I mean, when you're raised a certain way and you know, it keeps that tenacity. You got to almost feel like shit could end any day.
Yeah, I think that's important.
It's
if
huge.
you get complacent,
there's
which
the word.
I've done a lot of.
Me too.
You know, I've gotten complacent quite a bit in my life, and that is death to an entrepreneur. I'm surprised, you know, that I've held on sometimes, really, and made it back.
Yeah.
To the points that I have, but
Yeah, I've had times where in the public eye, it's like, yeah, that dude's a strong business owner, entrepreneur, love that guy. And it's like, if you could only hear the self-talk between these two ears, you know what I mean? And and it's not that I know I am all that, but like, you know, shit's slow. Employees are, you know, it's like I've had a lot of issues where like, if you could get a snapshot to my brain, it'd be like, damn, why are you thinking like that? You know? So.
Dude, man, you know how they say, like, you know, thank God a woman can't read a man's mind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh God.
you know, it's like, it's just like any person read my mind. Like I'm a troubled soul. That's what I told my homie like this morning. Like, and he maybe doesn't relate to it like what I go through, but it's what that's how I feel, dog. Like I'm troubled, bro. Like I'm trying to figure it all out, and it's really hard. I'm trying to put my life back together from the trauma that I went through and what I created for my own self.
Yeah.
And
While pursuing a business and doing all, like it's like we make it hard for ourselves. But I mean, I can't see it any other way. I honestly can't see it where, like, you'll never walk into a Rite Aid or like a church's, like you'll never see me sliding a Walmart little vest over me and be like you won't see it. Like in my brain, I just can't get there anymore. You know what I mean? And like what you said, a troubled soul. Like a lot of the things that I deal with that are a problem for me, I've put in front of me. Almost all of them. You know what I mean? Like it's a battle between me and me. And so I just have to overcome it, me personally. And I think anybody who's like an entrepreneur or someone who's trying to pursue something that they don't have, you know, a lot of it is you in your own way, and you just have to kind of rise up and like what you said, action. Not get out of your head and start moving forward. So
yeah,
people can relate to that, I'm sure.
Yeah, one of the things on this podcast that I feel is important in the conversations that I wanted to have are these hard conversations about the difficulty of training your mind, of doing well in business, the hardships that come with business. You know, like we want to paint this picture of like the glory of owning your own business, and there is glory to be had. You know,
a lot of work,
but it comes with blood, sweat, tears, and you know, scars on the mind, scars on the heart, scars physically, like the stress that it can cause on you. It can physically show up, and it's not easy, you know, and life's not easy. And I feel like for me, business is just an analogy for life. Like figuring out business is figuring out life, like figuring yourself out. Building a business is building you. And you can do it however you want. You know, there is no right way. You know, that's kind of the difference between me and some people that I know. It's like, you know, we all have our own process, and that process shouldn't really be judged as long as you continue on trying to make it work. You know what I'm saying? Or you might have to make transitions. Maybe what you're doing isn't the thing, but you find another thing eventually.
Yep.
And this podcast, I feel like it's centered around these conversations. You know, I feel like this is where a lot of people do struggle. And they might not be struggling in business because they're not business owners, but they struggle in life. And these things that we talk about are relatable. To everybody in life.
Yep.
And
there was a guy when I was back a long time ago when I was selling cars. His name is Michael Vesiano. And he said, success is determined by how you pick yourself up from failure to failure. And he was like, that's what's going to determine you as successful, because eventually you will succeed at something, but if you quit after the very first try, you'll never get there. So that was after walking 10 people in a row on the car lot, which is a no. Like you talk to them on the car lot and then they get in their car and leave before you can like go in and check with the manager. That's called walking someone. And he's just like, listen, bro, you're not a failure if you just get back out there and just keep going.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that in my head. Success is determined by how you pick yourself up from failure to failure. And that shit lives with me. You know, that was fucking 15 years ago he told me that. And I remember within the last 5 years, I hit him up. I'm like, dude, thank you for all that advice, you know, because mom wasn't saying that. Dad wasn't saying that.
No.
I didn't learn that in school even. It was someone who failed hella in their life who was now successful. You know? So you got it's about who you surround yourself with. And, You know, you got to want that shit, man. You got to want it. So
I really do believe you have to fail countless times to be successful.
yeah.
And to be successful in a wholesome aspect, an aspect where like your life is together. You as a person are together, your money's together, your friendships, your relationships are together. That's success. Success isn't like, oh, I built this big ass company, I'm making millions of dollars, but you don't ever see your family. You don't ever see your mama. You
No,
don't ever
fuck
see
no.
your kids. You don't have time for life. You know what I mean? And if your life, if you want to say your life is the business, and that is what it is, but ultimately I feel like there's some kind of unbalance there. And you can tell yourself whatever, but my perspective is that would not be success to me.
No.
You know, like I don't want to be I don't want to build a business to become a slave to my business. I want to build a business for freedom. And I see a lot of people I know become slaves to their business.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one. That's a hard balance, not to feel like you have to be a slave to your business, because like I said, ultimately you don't get to do what you always feel like doing
You're
in
going to be
business.
working more than if you work for someone.
Right.
Yeah. And so there's systems.
Yeah.
I read a book recently that really put the idea of systemizing. Don't tell somebody, hey, I want you to do it this way. Like, create a system to where that's the only way they know,
Yeah.
and incentivize them to work the system.
Mm.
Don't, and if you come in and you want to switch things up, don't just yell out, hey, I want you to do it from now on. Create the system that switches them from A to B. Like when you go into McDonald's, this book actually had a lot to do with McDonald's, and they really chimed on the fact that you don't got to eat burgers to understand how well this business is ran.
Yeah.
And the main thing is if you are running a successful business when you can predict the outcome of your product or service 30,000, 20,000 miles away in a different country. And the Big Mac comes out the same way. You have systemized and you have won that battle, because I'm sure just imagine like a separate city chapters where like other people were laying on, like it just wouldn't work. You know what I mean? And or maybe it would. Maybe you do have a system set in. I can't pull off the style of detail that I do all across the country. What I can do though is I can create a system where it dumbs down the expectation a little bit along with the price. And then, it kind of mainlines everything to where anyone can pull it off. And so what I say that for is that those systems will kind of low key set you free once you utilize them.
Yeah.
I'm a student at that. I'm a slave to my business currently. So currently I go on vacation and shit falls the fuck apart.
Yeah.
But with that said, I can leave anytime I want, and I can shut the doors and kind of be like, let's just not work for a couple weeks if I wanted to. But I've got employees who have families and stuff like that. So I kind of let them continue to work. But like the longer I'm gone, the more mess I got to clean up when I get back. That's a business that's profitable, that's 8 years old, and that I'm talking about how I'm free. It'll straight up shudder under me not being there. So that just lets you know like how hard this shit is. You know what I mean? Like I'm the juice. And although that my wife is kind of starting to get in, actually it's a funny thing to dive into this. When we go on vacation, I don't pay myself, but I pay my wife. So what I tell her is that it's on you. You know what I mean? They're going to call my phone, and when I see it's from someone from the shop, I'm giving you the phone, and I need you to just hash everything out. And if you need me, you let me know.
Yeah.
And I do that because one day I might not be here. And if you want to continue to be free in the manner that we have, you're going to have to just figure out these things, communicate with your employees, and she thanks me for that. She's just like, bro, that's huge, because, just like anything, it's just getting used to that motion. So,
Yeah.
which by the way, we've been together, it's 2023 right now. We've been together for 20 years, me and my wife. We married after 10 years of dating, and I wouldn't be anywhere without her. She runs the whole backside of the business. I bring the money in. She pays the bills and does anything that has to do with an out in the business. She handles it.
Yeah, shout out Maria.
Yep, shout out Maria. And she's around. You've seen her. A lot of people know her, and they probably don't quite understand her role. And I mean, like, I would just be some dirty ass little detail shop, fucking struggling, probably behind on my taxes if I didn't have somebody who took care of that shit.
Well, yeah, and like, there's no limit when you got a good woman behind you.
Fuck no.
I don't know what that's like yet, but I know from what I've heard, you know what I'm saying? And I can imagine what it's like when you have a great woman that really supports your dream and your mission and is really there with you in the trenches. That's, invaluable.
I got lucky. I mean, I'm talking about, we met at Quiznos.
Yeah.
She was my boss at Quiznos. And I'm talking about, like, imagine seeing a hula hoop, like, 50 yards away and you throw a football and it hits the target. Like, I'm just saying, like, I did not have bitches. I did not have women. I did not have confidence.
Yeah.
And I happened to somehow get an angel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? God sent me an angel. I grew up like religious, but I'm like, I don't go to church. And somehow I was blessed with an angel. I mean, like, this is the one woman I ever put any energy into, and it's been 20 years. Mm-hmm. And like, we talk about it all the time. Like, I mean, matter of fact, she asked me out.
Yeah.
To get down to the nitty gritty. You know what I mean?
Cool,
I was just like,
I don't know how you guys met. So
she was my boss at Quiznos.
Yeah.
I was working at Quiznos and they said, this lady, she's younger than me. She was like, this girl is going to be the night manager and she's going to be you got to kind of listen to her now.
Yeah.
And she was just hired. I'm like, what the fuck? So I kind of had that like, whatever. And then it just ended up working out. And one day she hit up her employee and said, you need to take me to a movie. That was her words. Uh-huh. So my cousin Drew actually answered the phone, which was funny. We were at the lake and the phone rang and he said, someone's on the phone for you. And so I picked it up and she said, you need to take me to a movie. This is Maria. And I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That
was 20 fucking years ago, bro. And so it's just it's just all about, like, I could have not answered that phone call. I could have, there's just so many things, and I don't even know. I'm not the most religious person, but things happen for a reason for sure. And she's definitely a blessing, and I'm very fortunate.
I'm a big believer that things happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. And really, I can't see how you can see it any other way, because whether you believe it's from some divine intervention or the fact that whatever happened, and there is some reasoning you got to develop from it or can take from it. You know, like there's still some reaction to what happened that is a reason, for you to develop in your mind. And the only way we get to operate through this world is through our reasoning. You know what I'm saying? So like,
it's just,
it's funny to me, like, people don't believe that, it's just like, what do you mean? Like,
there's vibrations, like there's consequences and repercussions for everything you do and every move you make. And
exactly.
And when you really think back at how you met people, it's straight up like left turn, right turn. Yeah. Like when you
met through your cousin Drew.
Yeah. Me and you met through my cousin. Yeah.
Me and Drew, we ain't close now, but that's a brother of mine, and it'll always be love. Yeah. For some reason he hears that, dog, that's what it is. I still love you, bro. Yeah. So. Yeah,
and just like anytime you meet or run into someone and interact with them, like when you look back at it, it's like, damn, that's a trip. Life is fucking crazy, man. Yeah. And so it's a blessing to have her in my corner. It's a blessing to have you as a homie and to bounce ideas off you and bounce ideas off of people. Like, you're that dude who's not just going to be like, yeah, that sounds good. You're going to tell me something real, And we've had some deep conversations. We went deep on it, which is a whole nother thing. The trek into the wood, the nature. What was it?
Nature walk.
That was hilarious. I took this man on a nature walk, and we went to a trailhead. And he said, "Motherfucker, this ain't no nature walk. We had a trailhead, fool."
Well, first off,
oh shit.
He's like, I was going over to his house, and he's like, "Yo, bring some shoes for a nature walk." I'm thinking we're just going from his house, like around some of the wooded areas, kind of in that air, right outside his house. He's like, "All right, man, we're going on the nature walk. Everybody load up in the
Bus.
up in the bus that he has. He has this cool bus that they travel with." And I'm like, "Wait, what? We're going in the bus?" And mind you, we took a little psilocybin, so I'm like, "What? We have to leave and get in a vehicle?" And
Everyone was afraid of me driving, which I was like, "No, I'm straight." And then we brought the psilocybin with us, and on that nature walk, shit got real.
It was fun, man. I had a blast. And
Yeah,
that
it was.
nature walk was at night during a full moon, and but yeah, like we traveled like 15 minutes in the bus, and I'm like, this is no longer a nature walk. We're going up a mountain, and we park at a trailhead in Dishman Hills area, and I'm like, this is now a hike, dude.
And this whole time, mind you, Bobby's getting more and more and more excited because like this is right up your alley.
Yeah,
Everybody else is kind of being like, "What are we doing?" Bobby's like, "No, he don't even know what we're doing," but he's just like, "Let's go, bro.
I
I'm
love
ready."
this stuff. Yeah, the other homies weren't about it, but I was for sure.
Yeah.
I love adventures like that. And
It was fun. It was fun, and we had some really deep conversations and laughed a lot.
yeah,
Whatever about the psilocybin we took that night, like I was on Death Comedy Jam in my brain, and so all I could do is just crack jokes the whole night, and it just got to be a lot. But I needed that right at that moment. I was like real deep in my head, and I just needed to have that moment where like I had folks around me. My neighbor just randomly came over to our house, remember?
yeah.
And he was just like, "What y'all doing?" We were like, "We're taking mushrooms. We're going on nature walk." He didn't even check in with his family, and it took off with us. It was so fun. It was see, this is what I mean by situations left or right. Like that group that night was just like thrown together and sent off on a rocket ship, which was great, bro.
Yeah. Remember the star that turned into a plane?
Yeah, and the commentary the whole time.
Yeah,
It was
like
Mars.
a 10-minute.
Well, it was Mars. Remember?
And then it was Delta One, whatever flight number.
Yeah, and then we saw it land. That was a trip, bro.
Yeah.
If you've never gotten outside your brain with a very little amount of mushrooms, I really highly suggest you just kind of lean in towards that option. I'm not gonna be the one who just says dive in and go do it, because shit can get real if you kind of like
don't eat an eighth to the face your first time.
Yeah, but like definitely
But a little nibble.
Yeah, a little nibble. And also, if you're in the idea of that, hey, I want to kind of experience something else, do it. Yeah. If you're secure with where you are and you love the skin you're in, you don't need any outside influence for anything, just keep doing what you're doing. But it's majorly benefited me. I went no drinking, no smoking, and taking mushrooms for 7 days just within this last year. 7 straight days, mushrooms every day. That opened my eyes a lot too. That really did. It kind of just made me not hesitate on certain things as much. You know what I mean? Where like
you're just doing a microdose.
Yeah, it was a microdose. I was working through it all. I was sweating it out. No drinking, no smoking, just 7 days, and it was cool. It was really cool. And I ended on a little pinnacle where actually I saw you on the end date. It was at a show at Lucky You. Is the day I ended on it, and had a little something to smoke and drink, and just kind of reflected. And it's really good to reset your habits, I guess is where I'm going. Is that like if you're addicted to something, or if you're clean from something and you're like, hey, it's a problem, it's always good to just kind of like shut everything down and just try to reintroduce stuff little by little, or just don't bring stuff back into your life, like I really would like to get to the point where I control smoking and drinking a little more than I do. I'm not
what are some of the reasons? What, you don't have to go deep on it, but like what are some of the more surface level reasons of why you feel you need to do that?
Because no one can tell me no. No one can tell me no. Like if I'm like, I have that type of wife and partner where I'm like she'll kill me. You know what I mean? Like if I wanted Reese's peanut butter cups and IPAs in the fridge at all times, like she wouldn't look at me any different.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, oh, I'm going to Costco. Do you want these IPAs or those IPAs? You know, like I have a partner to the sense that like it can be not good. I could 1-2 beer myself for the rest of my life. No one's going to say nothing that it's a problem to me. You know what I
But
mean?
she supports you in what you want to do.
Exactly.
Right? Like, so once you decide whatever it is, she supports you.
Exactly.
But she's not forceful and trying to make you be a certain person.
Oh, no.
Which is great.
Which is
That's
great.
how a relationship should be.
And you're exactly right. I love the fact that it's like that, but I also will catch myself going on 90 days like, motherfucker, you have been drinking beers every day for 90 days and nobody's checking you.
What's the problem with drinking the beers for 90 days? Like, what are you experiencing?
Good point.
Like, why would you want to stop drinking a beer every day for 90 days?
So
like,
good point. I love the fact that you're diving in and doing that. So the reason why that's an issue is because I have responsibilities as a father. And so it's like, okay, well, what are you doing that you feel like you could do better as a father? Well, the issue is, it's like, I don't want an image for him to be that dad's always got a can in his hand or a blunt in his hand, and dad uses those for this and that. And you know what I mean? Like it's really about leading by example is what it all comes back to.
Do you feel though that like, having the beers, smoking the weed, it actually takes away from you being the father that you could be though? Or is it just the image that you're worried about? Do you feel like you're not 100% there and that's more of the reason you want to quit? And also the image, but
both.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a better man sober.
Mm-hmm. That's something that I've tried to come back to. Like, if I'm better without it, then I'm getting rid of it. Like, so I stopped drinking coffee for like 3 months.
Oh, word.
And in my mind, I still want something, right? I don't drink. I don't smoke weed. I don't do anything anymore. And people that know me, like, as long as you've known me, that's kind of different. You know what I mean? Like, I used to smoke hella. I used to drink hella. Usually party around some drugs quite often. Luckily, I never was like a drug user. I just only did it at a party. You know what I'm saying?
Never
like,
bought any
but
drugs.
I never was at home blowing minds and all that crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that just luckily wasn't in me to do that. But I'd still like anyway. What was my point? I
was just going to remind you of your point too. It was the fact that you don't indulge.
Oh, coffee.
There we go.
Coffee is what it was. So
there it is.
I started drinking coffee again, like, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago. And, I started off like just a cup a day, easy, implemented back
and it's great. Like the first cup, you're like,
yeah, like sometimes I don't feel it at all. And then sometimes I do feel it. And then there was a few days initially that I'm like, I felt like my mind was scattered from the coffee. Like it was, going everywhere. And my friend brought this up this morning. They did a scientific test with spiders, and they gave one coffee, one LSD, and one, I think, was like alcohol or something, right? And like the webs that they make are all different. The LSD was very intricate.
Oh, word.
The coffee was very sporadic and off, and the alcohol was, something else.
Fucking
but like
sloppy,
but the spider on the coffee was like going everywhere. You know what I mean? He was just freaking out, basically. And that's how I feel my mind is, on coffee a lot of times. Like sometimes you can hit that right spot and it feels great. But for me, like I'm an overindulger. Like I can do 1 cup of coffee for a while, but then it's on a day where I meet up with some people, they want to get coffee. I get a few cups of coffee and then I'm zinging. And then it's the ups and downs of that energy, that up with the caffeine and the downs with it too. And like this weekend, after a long week of just working and having coffee, by Sunday, I was so exhausted. Also, I'm implementing other things in my life, getting up at 5 a.m. and these different things. But like, I could just directly correlate to the coffee as it being one of the central things that was affecting me negatively.
Wow.
And I was just like, I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore again.
You got you had an inkling, then you got the proof, and you were just
I
like,
tested the waters
you're
again.
like, nope.
And I
done.
want it because I want the ritual. I want the, have something that's like, I want to like feel a little something outside of being sober. But it's
Yeah.
like, nope, I got to live clean. And I have to live true to that. And I'm not going to keep going through this process trying to, barter with life or prove that I can have coffee for what reason when ultimately I don't need it. And
Yeah.
so I've just came back to that place again where it's like, and it's, like these things can sound so trivial to most people. Like, oh, bro, you tripping about coffee. Like, you don't want to drink. You don't like. For any individual seeking greatness, like you have to get rid of the trivial stuff. Like all those little things matter, and I've always been resistant to that until recently, until where I finally have just accepted the fact for me, for my life, anything that I know is not good for me, that society uses and says it's okay and it's not a big deal, but I feel that it is for me and my growth and what I want to achieve, I got to get the fuck rid of it.
That's takes a very adult person. Takes a lot of it takes a lot of willpower, and I mean you're facing the flames by doing that, so I commend you for that. You know what I mean? Because the first little bit, it's fucking hard. I don't know how the last bit is. I haven't been there. Like I aspire to do that. I aspire to be control of my impulses, and and what the worst part about it is like I am straight up impulsive, and like, what's success? People ask me all the time, oh, how's your business doing? Is it successful? It just depends on what you determine success is. Yeah. And so like I am impulsive question. And by my own definition, I am successful. And so I'm impulsive and it's just tough to navigate my waters because I get what I want and I also indulge and I also do things that I know are not necessarily the best for me, and then I still achieve my goals. And a lot of it's like a web, like what you were saying, like it's like a sticky little thing where it's like I'm there but I'm not, and
so. that's life. Like I really don't even know if it's possible as a human to always make the right choice. Like like what that's we're always gonna do things that are impulsive or like not the decision we wanted to make. The mind's tricky, and getting a hold of it is wrangling it. It's like wrangling a wild Mustang. The mind is wild, and most of us do not have the upbringing to be able to have control of the mind. The mind runs us, and we think that we are the mind. But really, there's a separation between you, your genuine self, and the mind. There's the body, mind, and spirit. And I'm of the belief that really who we genuinely are resides in the spirit. It's our essence. It's our energy. It's our life force. But the mind in this body, it has its bodily needs, and it wants to keep you in this comfort zone. And so, like, learning how to not let your mind control you and its habits, because ultimately the body's addicted to certain types of behaviors and chemicals that it gets from those behaviors. And like that's something that I just learned a lot more about recently in Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, which I'm still digesting that book. It's been really hard for me to take in, but some of the things that stuck with me is the fact that like we have standard nature, human nature is really to not, it does not want to be in unsafe areas. So anything that we do that feels unsafe, we go into flight
or fight,
flight or fight mode, which releases cortisol into the body, which is, all these different things, right? So like every emotion that we have releases chemicals. And so like people that are depressed, like I've been, like the body actually needs that chemical that is released from depression. It wants that feeling.
That's why you're
You
feeling
you
that way.
think you don't want to feel that way in your mind. Your spirit is like, I should be feeling better than this, but the body is like, I need these chemicals. I'm addicted to these chemicals.
Yep.
But you can also be addicted to happy chemicals. Like people who have trained themselves well can experience that at any point they want to. They can flood their body with those types of chemicals. But, this is like some deep biohack stuff. But I love this stuff because that's like really ultimately the point. It's like, how can you control your mind and your body so that your soul can thrive here in this experience?
Absolutely. How are you with, like, just being alone? Alone? Like, can you navigate, like, do you have an issue with nobody in a room and can you just, I only say that it's because I'm very bad at it. I'm very bad at doing the right thing just alone. Whereas if I had to guess, you probably have a pretty good handle on that. Yeah. You were, you're like, yeah, because like it's something that you're like, yeah, every day. Like
I'm alone every day, almost. I don't have a family. I don't have a steady girlfriend. So I.
And when I say that, I have an issue with like just the thought. You know what I mean? Like I'll sit there and like everything's done and I'll just like, I could totally just be enjoying like the back deck. Like I got a nice place and I could totally just be like hanging out, enjoying the nice weather. But like I'll create some sort of fucking battle in my head over something and then kind of get worked up. Like I'm just not good at that being just. I'm not good at just being just. And that's right where that sentence ends. And like constantly I kind of catch myself being like, right when I should maybe be having that self-talk and like being alone to kind of improve that, I catch myself being like, what's up? What are you doing? What are what are y'all doing over here or doing over there? Like I want to come and try to be with people to not just sit there alone.
So it's your form of escapism.
Yeah, I can't just live in my own head sometimes.
Yeah, like you're saying you don't want to face some of the thoughts that come up when you're alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't quite understand what it's about.
Yeah.
But, I'm the youngest of four kids. I've always had family around. I've always, and
it's hard being alone. And I don't think, obviously naturally through evolution, we're not designed really to be alone. We're designed to be in tribes, clans, and that's why I think as a society we're suffering so much now is because though we have all this connection through social media and everything, really a lot of people feel totally disconnected and alone. And I struggle with that immensely. And so do I have things mastered when I'm alone in my mind? Certainly not, dude. I struggle with my thoughts alone a lot, but I'm forced to almost because, well, maybe not forced to, but I'm stubborn in reaching out to people to hang out. Like I've really developed almost like an introvert personality over the last few years, ever since COVID especially. But there was things happening prior to that, then COVID, and then, just me just really feeling like I can't be around others right now. Like I have to be with myself. I have to figure myself out. I can't take any influences from the outside. I don't want to be influenced to make negative decisions, when it comes to drinking and stuff. So that means I can't be in certain environments.
Yeah.
And being alone is incredibly difficult, but I also feel that because I've taken that time to be with myself, that I've really gained a lot of self-awareness.
Yourself because of that. You kind of know a little bit more.
I think I know myself pretty well, and I've really uncovered a lot of different things of myself as well. And you know, people have different points of view on what you're supposed to do in life, and for me, it can't always be action, 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 action. Like I need those times, and yeah, maybe business suffers because of it, and I want to find the balance to where I can do my rest, keep the businesses going, and such. But I think the biggest important thing to me is my self growth as a person. But I realized too during some of this process over the last few years that self growth also involves putting yourself out there, doing the things that are hard that you know you need to do. And self growth for me also involves building my businesses to be successful. That is a part of my self growth. I've done these other areas. Now I'm back in a place where it's like, all right, the business is the next step of my self growth that I need to pay attention to. So doing this podcast is, one big way of me really like diving back into just taking action, because I have goals for the podcast, but ultimately I really don't know where it's going to take me, in the aspect of like, I really think it's going to open up doors I could never imagine, and I think it's really important for me to do this. So,
No, I totally agree. My battle right now is like, I want to lose weight, like, and I've lost weight. Like I used to be way bigger, and like I want to sustain 250 pounds. And so like, that's like my whole, like in terms of self growth, like, I've got a family, I've got a wife, I've got a business, I got a car, multiple cars. I mean, it's not like that doesn't mean something to everyone, but to me, I value like some nice shit. So I've got some nice shit. But what I don't necessarily got is a handle on the ideal size and health that I want to be at. And so that I battle with that a lot, and I try to get up and I work out. I'm currently doing a program that's 600 seconds. That's what it's called. So you work out for 600 seconds consistently. It's hard as fuck. And so that ends up being 10 straight minutes. And then I take a little jog afterward, and I try to do that as much as I can. But a lot of it is just you making, just like what we've been saying, it's just making the right decisions. A lot of it is diet.
Diet's, I think, huge for mental clarity, energy, all those different things. Like I've been blessed with a crazy metabolism, so like and I don't think I'll ever have like major weight issues as far as overweight. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. My parents are both very still slim, and they're much older. But with that being said, it is a blessing and a curse too. Like I'll take what I have, and I'm not complaining, but like I can get away with eating anything, and that is not good for my self-discipline, because I'm still affected by what I eat, and I try to eat pretty good. I think overall I eat good. I'm not eating raw vegan, but I'm eating pretty good meals, decent meals. I don't eat
fast food.
Never eat fast food.
I can't even. I don't even know. I don't even think I've ever even seen you eat, which means you eat good. You know what I mean? When somebody's like, "Well, yeah, I eat for fuel."
Yeah.
That's like my brother. Like my brother's an Iron Man, and if you were to talk to him, he's
cool.
he's done it a bunch, and
that's awesome.
If you were to ask him, he's like, food is fuel. Like, you'll catch him at the park, like eating those little bell peppers, and and he's just like, I just need a little bit of something real quick. And fuck, man, I just aspire to get to that point. Now,
Same here, I do too, man.
But I also like, I don't know how people pass Chick-fil-A and not stop. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean those nugs?
I just won't wait in that line.
Yeah, so there's certain things.
I just won't wait in that line. I will not do it. Every time I go up there, because I don't make it up on the north side too often, I'm like, still?
You're like, God damn.
What? This place has been open for a few years now. Like, why?
I will say that line
Why?
goes fast from a big guy talking
Does
about the
it?
line. It goes so quick.
Does it?
I
mean, I just look
stop.
at it every time I've even thought like, oh, Chick-fil-A. I look at the line like, nope.
Yeah.
I just don't even want to even know.
Mm-hmm. Have you not had it?
I've had Chick-fil-A in other cities.
It's nothing special.
Just not in Spokane. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
not-
That's the thing. I'm like, it's chicken Sammy's. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I don't get the hysteria. It is a hysteria, but
Yeah.
hey, bro, they're killing it. And they were gonna put one on the South Hill, and I'm glad they didn't because it would have fucked up 29th, yo.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure that's why they didn't.
They
put
took
it up
out
there.
one of our favorite restaurants because of it. But I mean, they opened it a little further.
I mean, it
South
might
Hill
have been
Grill.
all right. I probably would have tried it, but yeah,
It would have been It would have been so busy up there,
I
bro.
just don't think the infrastructure could support it on the hill. Like,
Yeah, it would have been too busy.
maybe, I don't know, but I'm guessing that's why they declined it.
Yeah, well, I think what it was, there's a bunch of different revisions they had to do to the roads and stuff because
That's
of
what
all
I'm
that.
saying. Like, it's the traffic that it would have brought.
It's crazy.
Because people from all over downtown and everywhere would have been coming up to the hill to hit Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah, because north is far before you hit that halfway point.
Yeah.
So
I always had an idea, and I had this since I was young, is organic fast food. Like,
let's unpack it.
Like,
what would it look
we
like?
should talk about it another time. I just want to put it out there in the world, because I've had this idea.
Oh, it exists.
Where?
I just thought of it. Is in California one time we went to. This can blow your mind. Have you ever had the Annie's brand?
No.
You've had the super bomb, like they're like little burritos, they're like burritos like this, but it's Annie's, and like
Is it Annie's or Amy's?
Amy's.
Amy's.
Sorry,
yeah. I was like
but
Annie's on.
Yeah, Amy's.
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 Yes. Yeah.
They have a Amy's like a fast food restaurant.
Oh, really?
In California,
Oh.
and it's fucking hopping.
Yeah.
People love it.
I bet.
And they've got like it's split. They've got like a whole vegan because Amy's has like a whole like a lot of their stuff doesn't have meat in it or
None
dairy.
of it. Yeah.
But then also most of the store stuff doesn't.
Yeah.
But in their burger place, they're smart enough to be like, oh, we got real burgers too, and it's just like all like really fresh, all that stuff. And I mean, it slapped, and it's shit. It almost looks like a Dick's. So
Yeah.
it's like kind of they built it. It's a brand new restaurant that's built kind of looking like it's older, and it's like it's all just like really good food. It's fucking busy.
Yeah.
And so that I imagine that's just the first of it, and it's gonna people.
I
are gonna-
mean, I've been thinking of this for like 10 plus years, but it's like I don't know anything about a franchise, and I could learn. I've read some books surrounding, these concepts, mainly like how McDonald's did what they did and all of that. But I don't know. It's an idea, but that's an idea I need partners on. And
yeah, and then that's a whole nother thing.
yeah.
Do you juice or do you do you have a blender?
I do have a blender, and since it's funny you bring that up because I'm stopping coffee, and I'm like, I need something to drink. I drink a lot of like sparkling waters outside of just water, but other than that, that's pretty much all I drink. Other than some oat milk.
What are you blending? Like when you use your blender?
I'm not blending right now.
You haven't
I'm
yet.
thinking
You're
of
getting
like
into
I
there.
need to do it again. I need to be juicing again because I just need something that's a ritual outside of what I was doing with coffee. Or
Have you heard
wanting.
much about, or do you know anything about H2O3? Have you heard of this?
No.
So, and I'm a student as well at this, but apparently it makes total sense that water is H2O and H2O3 is the moisture and water density you'd get from a fruit or a vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
And how it is 10 times more nutritious for you and has the sugars and the carbohydrates and the things in that already juiced whatever that your body uptakes much better. And like when you do your research on H2O3, they claim that most people are dehydrated.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
And it's not, it's only until you are, at least if you're, you got to eat X amount of apples and oranges and this and that in a day to really get the hydration that sticks in you. And we've all been there where we've chugged some water and then had to piss right away. And that's kind of what they say is they said, yeah, water's all good, but like anymore, it's tough to find one, real spring water. And two, that bottled water like a Dasani or a this or a that, they're saying that it is, if you read the back, it is actually filtered or purified water, which means there's no minerals in it.
Right.
So there's this whole thing. When you get on YouTube or any kind of educational platform, they'll explain H2O3 and about how you need to juice and to get the proper amount of hydration in your diet. Like I say, anytime I'm a student of everything, but like, I really don't try to say I do anything unless I really do it. And, I don't currently juice. We have a Vitamix and went through phases where we hit it real good and then we get off of it and you totally can tell the difference. Yeah. Where I get it is that end of the day lethargic.
Well, and the thing about juicing too is just like getting all of what you need from your veggies and fruits and like that. You know what I mean? Because I like to eat fruits, pineapple, watermelon. Those are probably the two that I eat the most. Bananas and but yeah, it's hard like keeping the fruits in the house. Like if you can just keep frozen fruits and get your, get it in real quick and like you knocked it out in the morning and then whatever you eat in addition is just a plus, you know? But yeah, I'm trying to get back on my like a way more healthy regime. I'm intermittent fasting.
Oh, are you really?
I'm getting up at 5. I'm not getting up at 5 every morning, like
You're
by
trying.
any means. But
your
I
alarm
try.
goes off.
And my alarm goes off, and it's in my bathroom, so I have to get up, go to the
bathroom. Oh, you smart man. That's in a book.
I wish I was smart.
That's in a book. I remember.
I'll still be like, no,
take
go
a
back
piss
to bed.
And go back to bed.
But I get back up every time, and then eventually if I don't get up at the 5 a.m. one, by the third time, I'm like, all right, fuck, I'll just. Get in the shower now, you know what I'm saying?
How about intermittent fasting? What is your feeding windows?
I'm doing a 16-8 and I eat from 11 to 7. That's kind of the target window. I sometimes eat a little later than 7 depending on the day.
Then you just push your feed window the next day? Oh, no, you don't? Okay.
I'm so hungry by 11 the next day that's fine. Like really for me it's about fasting in the morning and not succumbing to eating right away. So I work out in the morning, which helps curb my appetite initially. And then I just drink a ton of water in the morning, instead of, because like the water helps, like it'll curb your appetite for short periods of time during the fast. And the coffee helped too when I was doing my
black
fast.
Coffee,
But now I don't have that again. And that's kind of why I started doing the coffee again in the morning. Just getting up, I thought it would give me a kick, and then also just like help curb the appetite a bit because black coffee is acceptable during a fast, but I'm just gonna go without it for now.
Yeah, and when you do break that fast with that smoothie, oh my god, there's nothing better, bro.
Larry June, man, he got me on. I'm like, I'm trying to get on them juices, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's weird because it's like your body is fasting. It's like yearning for food at that point, and it's like redoing the cells. It's like like kind of waking up. It's eating like, cells up and kind of, and then so when you put that smoothie in there, and the only kind of nutrition it gets is the good shit. Holy fuck. It soaks it up like dunking a sponge in a fucking cup of water. It's just it literally just loves you for that shit. It's just hard to always be vigilant to like wake up and be like, boom, I'm gonna make the smoothie. I'm gonna like stick to the deal. We were on it for a while, and my wife aspires to keep everything nice and healthy in the house. She is vegan. She calls herself freegan. because she mainly eats vegan, and then at if she sees something she wants, she'll eat it. But
like
when
just vegetarian or like
she'll eat meat.
oh, she'll eat meat.
But like
Okay,
when I
yeah.
say meat, like she won't eat a portion of meat.
Yeah.
She'll just have like a bite.
Right.
She'll be like, "Oh, those ribs look good. Like, can you cut me off a tiny little piece?"
That's awesome.
And so she's just free in that sense. But we both aspire to get that smoothie in us, get that nutrition in us, and then build from there, stretching, getting good healthy routines. So
Yeah, man, that's the constant battle for me is like make healthy choices.
Yeah.
I can make healthy choices. I will make healthy choices.
do you meditate?
I do a little bit, yeah.
Cool. Good for you. I
I'm
aspire to do that.
doing so. I just read the 5 a.m. Club, and I don't have this nearly mastered yet, but it obviously get up at 5 a.m. is part of it, and then it's 20 minutes of working out minimum in the morning right away, 20 minutes of meditation and journaling, and then 20 minutes of reading.
So 1 hour.
1 hour, you do all these things, and like it's just about you time. Like you work out for you to get. You have to sweat in that 20 minutes.
Do you have to do it in that order?
It says to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So workout. Say it again.
Yeah, work out 20 minutes. Gotta sweat.
Yep.
Meditate.
That's right.
Journal. You can do 10-10, or you could just do one or the other. You can choose. Either way, it's going to be good for you. It's about what you need to do for yourself. And then the last one is read or audiobooks or something of that nature. So
what a what a good start to any day,
yeah, that's the biggest principle about it. It's like not waking up and being rushed to do these things you're going to have to react to for the rest of the day. It's about you having this time for yourself to do something for yourself and to start your day the best way possible. And that's by bettering yourself.
So no phone at 5 a.m.
No phone. That's
the main, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that like it'll distract you. And
yeah, definitely no phones or anything. And this book even says like don't even sleep with the phone in your room.
Yeah, my wife does that. She mastered that. And finally, I was charging my phone right next to my bed. Eventually, like the charger's just gone.
Yeah.
She was just like, you got to charge it. I don't want any phones in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. She actually a long time ago, she decided no TV. Only thing in our bedroom is the bed and 2 nightstands by design.
I don't have a TV in my room either, man. Like you need to. That's where you rest, and you can't rest with a TV. That blue light and all that it tricks your mind.
Yeah.
This is scientifically proven. Like it'll keep you awake, and it does not allow you to get good rest. Even if you do fall asleep with the TV on, that light is still filtering through your eyes.
Yeah, because your lids are shut and they can kind of see that.
Yeah, light still gets through, so it prevents REM sleep, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes I'm so extreme. I'm like, I'm about to get rid of the TV in my living room.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I like a little relaxing, and TV.
Have you ever been on your phone too long and tried to shut your eyes and saw you can almost like your eyes are like kind of like, and it's like, and right then like fuck, I'm just a fucking nutcase on my phone. Like what was I even looking at? It's a problem. I remember telling somebody like we don't stand a chance to that technology. Like we straight up have to put it down. You cannot hold it and be like, oh no, I'm not going to get lost on my phone. I'm going to do this instead. No, like we straight up can't do it. I don't know anyone who successfully, we would all have flip phones. We somehow figure out a way to get social media or whatever they got going into our face. It's fucking crazy.
Serious, man.
And then talk about running a business where like somehow, some way they've convinced you that you gotta make posts. Yeah. Fuck, it's a double-ended sword, bro.
That's where it's really messed up. Yeah. And I I don't like social media, man.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? We're saying this while we're on it.
And I gotta use it. I'm gonna take a clip of this section right here and post it right on the IG.
And we're gonna hate it because like we don't want it, but we gotta do it.
This is gonna be a highlight clip for sure.
And so, but it's about balance.
But the in that book, 5 a.m. Club, it talks so much throughout the book about like the digital distraction that we all face and like how it is imperative if you want to be able to focus and to attain high goals that you learn how to discipline yourself and distance yourself from it. Like it talks about like if you're going to sit down to do work, put your phone away from you, out of your reach. Like you can't get it. Put it on silent. Like don't put it within your reach. It talks about all sorts of things. Don't sleep with it in your room. Like mine's in the bathroom, so I feel like that's pretty good. It's not near me at all. And before that, I was putting it on my nightstand across the room, but they say even it being in the room because of the frequencies and all that is not good, I guess. But they don't say that in the book, but
you've heard that other ways.
I've heard other people get
holding that thing up to your
crazy,
ear. And, oh God, the whole Wi-Fi thing. It's always a quest to be better. And when I get around people who aren't really trying to push themselves, like I want to be in a different room. Bunch of people wearing sweatpants and flip-flops. Like Spokane will do something to you, bro. You know what I mean? And you could. It's really easy to be like a nothing ass nobody, here out here. So always trying to pursue to be something different. Mm-hmm. Who's here?
Sorry, I locked myself out of my own.
You're smiling like you just had a good convo.
Oh no, I'm just smiling because I locked myself out of my own studio.
Oh, well, that happens. We could open the door for you.
I definitely am in that wavelength now. I don't want to really be around others that aren't pushing themselves to be better people. And I want to be around people too. Like when I'm down, like they pull me up, and when they're down, I pull them up. Like I'm gonna push you, you push me. That's the kind of because we're all gonna fall flat. Mm-hmm. We're all gonna fall below what we're capable of at times. But if you have real ones around you and people that really love you, then, they're going to push you to reach back in and take hold and get back on track.
Yep.
I don't really currently have too much of that in my life, but I'm going to keep going till I find it, you know what I mean? And find the right people that can join this journey with me. I have a lot of friends, like we're friends. When we see each other, we have great talks, but it's very distant when we see each other. So
a little bit more consistency.
Yeah, I'm not knocking or saying like I don't have support or love from a lot of people, because I know that's true, but I just don't see these people all the time because we all busy.
Yeah.
And that's also
kind of what you'd want.
That's the other problem with society. Like we all tell ourselves we're so busy, we can't ever really spend time together as brothers. You know what I mean? Like brotherhood really relates to like, hey, business, maybe the gym. But, like outside of that, we're all so like distant in pursuing our dreams. Like we don't really get a lot of that. Or for me, I don't know what everybody else is living. But for me, I'm not currently getting a lot of that time where I get to spend that kind of just spend that kind of time with people. This is where I get to do it. The podcast is where I get to do it.
That's my outlet. My outlet is what you're doing right now here, what you invited me to be on, is what I live for. And you know what? I wouldn't dare have my phone on. There ain't no signs in here that says no phones. You know what I mean? There ain't no expectation, but like I wouldn't dare be distracted on a situation where I get an opportunity to like kind of really meet somebody at an eye level. So anytime me and the boys have a podcast, all the phones are always off.
Got to be.
Because it's like, what are we here for if we're not gonna like take this seriously?
It's the whole point of the podcast.
Yeah.
To me, it's like we get to lock in on a conversation uninterrupted. That's the beauty of a podcast. interview, and for me is like I get to talk with you uninterrupted.
Yeah.
Where we can never really have that experience anywhere else in life right now.
I'll be honest, being affiliated with the podcast, being on podcasts here and there, 100% totally has made me a better person. It helps me with communication. It helps me with an outlet to express my how I'm feeling about certain things. There's certain ideas and things that I think are funny that I'll kind of like pigeonhole away. And then I'll be like, oh, when do you bring it up? You bring it up on a fucking podcast so that it's there. You know what I mean? You don't bring it up just like real quick and nobody fucking cares. You bring it up. You use your platform as an outlet so that people can kind of hear what you're thinking about certain things. And so I love that fact. I'd do this shit for, you know, I'd show up on a different podcast every week if that was the thing, because it allows me to kind of disconnect and without this push to be on air and to be like locked in, I'd be distracted. You know, easily. I'm easily distracted. I grew up with ADD, ADHD, and I'm easily distracted, but I don't use it as a crutch. I try not to be like, oh, bro, I have ADD. I can't, you know. I actually say like, you know, since I have ADD, I'm allowed to what's called hyper focus. And so there's certain things that I can like hone in on in a low key kind of unhealthy way, but like the job gets done. Yeah. I might not drink water that day. I might not talk to nobody that day. And when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, holy shit, like you didn't, like you fucking raised your head out. You still got bedhead. And it's 6 o'clock at night, but that's just because I'm able to like hyper focus on something and achieve it, you know? Yeah. But it takes you kind of knowing yourself, and it also takes like everything we just talked about, takes an outlet. Sometimes people are in their own way because what happens is they, you know, they have all these goals, but then in their brain, they're just like, I can't do that because I got to do this. And, you know, starting a business is a big one. Oh, I can't start a business. I have to get a location first, and I have to hire employees. It's like, no, bro, just fucking.
Yeah, you don't.
You know,
I haven't taken that route yet.
Yeah, just got to get out of your own way.
Yeah. Well, let's transition. We had brought up that you did music before.
Okay.
So, Imperfect Cody.
Bro, I love music, and I pursued music for a very long time. And I don't know if I can even say this, but I'll say it. Like I had a decent amount of following out here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I could kind of, you know, I was just having fun, really. And then at a certain point, I tried to take the fun and the love I had for music, and I tried to turn it into a business, and it all fell apart. And the reason why is because the passion that I had for making music, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. Like as I was making albums and as I was like writing songs, if you really go back and listen to it, it's kind of a threat where like in a lot of the music, it's like, if this shit doesn't pop, I'm fucking done. You know what I mean? And like, there's that's kind of in there. And the reason why I ended up kind of calling it quits is because I found something that truly paid. You know, I pursued something, I prepared myself for it, I knocked it out, the end was there, the expectation was set, it was hit, and then at the end of the day, we're just like with music, it's like, hey, nice job, that show was dope, you guys killed it. That moment, instead of that, it was, here's $1,000, here's $2,000, here's $1,500, here's $500, you know. And so it's like you pull off a week worth of work, hard work, and you get paid for it. And then it's like, well, fuck, I've been working for free all these years. And so to hone back to music, I gave up music because I couldn't get it to turn into anything.
Couldn't monetize it, essentially.
And even at a like minute, like kudos level where it's like, no, but like you could just be doing shows and kind of have that clout. I would have been behind. Like at that point in time, I'm in my 30s, you know, I'm in like 28, 29, 30 when like shit was really kind of, you know, I was making music. And so I was behind at that point. 30 years old, you ain't got no, you don't have a savings, you ain't got no 401k, you ain't bought a house, you ain't. And so I just knew that even if this all popped, let's say it took 10 years, I'd be 40 and tons of risk. And so I just remember just calling it quits in my brain. And it took me a long time to admit it to people. It took me a long time to admit to people, hey, Cody, you know, where's the music? What's the deal? And I'd just be like, and then eventually I remember one day I was just like, hey, I can't get it to equate to anything, so I'm just gonna be moving on. Yeah. And people were, I still to this day, I mean, like 2 days ago, someone came up to me and approached me and said, bro, I still bump your shit. The album that they're talking about is 7 years old.
The Harvest?
Yeah.
I was listening to it yesterday.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was like, I gotta tap back in with The Harvest, man. And it was cool listening back to some of those tracks, because when that came out, we were all bumping it heavy, bro. Like in town, at least the people I was around, me and Drew were definitely bumping it a lot. And yes.
Well, that shines another thing on, is if you can support somebody with something and you could really fuck with them deep down and love their shit and love them as a person and be like, damn, this dude's really killing it. But low key in their brain, you might not ever really know what they're going through. And I really wish I knew what kind of impact that album was having on people in its time. You know what I mean? I wish I could snapshot forward 5 or 6 years and kind of see the type of feedback I get now. And that might have changed the way my moves a little bit. Yeah. Because at a certain point, you know, everything was gone. Although, you know, the fans, the people who were like checking on me, that don't happen no more. And now I just get like a few people who listened to it but never really said nothing then, and then now they're just like kind of saying it, which isn't, it's, you know, it is what it is. It's just it happened that way. How they perceived it and how I put it down, there was a gap there. You know what I mean? And so why I'm saying that is because if you support somebody with something and you do want to see them do well and you want them to succeed, like, and maybe we were all just too young, reach out to them and tell them and say, hey, I fuck with your shit majorly, and I feel like you could do this or that or whatever. Give them whatever you think that you can, because cats will quit on their dreams because they just didn't understand what kind of weight it had, you know? And I'll be all right because, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, and one day I may get back into music and like I have enough self-worth and self-talk to where I can kind of put myself in other positions where I'll be successful. But there is cats where their life's work is tied up in their art. You know what I mean? And they kind of sort of their friends don't even fuck with them, you know? And that should be sad sometimes. And so if I could say anything, if your homie does anything artistic and you do fuck with it, make sure you let them know.
I agree. Like, you should support your people. I will also say this, though. It is your responsibility to be undeniable as an artist. Yeah. But your people, like, if you really say you support homie, then yes, telling them like you know, hey, buy the album, whatever. Like, a lady that I'm gonna have on the podcast here soon, she is an author, and she's written a few books. And I was like, hey, I want to buy your book. She's like, oh, I'll just give you a copy. I was like, no, I want to buy it. I want to, you know what I mean? And like, I give my stuff away a lot for city chapters to people. And I get a lot of people who are like, no, dog, like, I'm going to pay you. And I've always appreciate that, you know, because it's not always about the money to me, but, you know, this I'm in business, you know, at the same time. So when people that I'm really trying to gift something to are like, no, brother, like, I want to pay. And, you know, that goes a long ways. But, you know, music and all that stuff is so hard, bro. Like, it is so hard. And you know, when you were doing it, and it's probably and even way harder now, I would imagine.
Oh God, all
Just
the competition, yeah.
The competition now is insane.
And then also to shine back what we talked about earlier, it's a want. That's not a need.
What, the rap career?
Just making music and putting it out there and having the opportunity for people to support you. You're talking about a lane that it's all out there already. You're going to put it on Spotify. It's going to be there.
You're saying your deliverance is a want for people, like if they want to listen to it or not.
Yeah, they don't need it.
Yeah, they don't need to listen to your
No,
music,
there's nothing they need to hear.
Yeah.
If they fuck with you, they'll listen to it maybe once, maybe twice. Maybe they'll listen to it 7 years down the road after you put it out. But it's still not a need. It's a want. And so it just, like when you say making music, like that's tough. Like it's tough to be in anything that people have to make a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's tough to be in any kind of business where it's just like, they could be waiting in line to give you the money and be like, you even want to do this right now? Whereas like, if you need your grass cut, it's just like, motherfucker, when can you be here? You know, there's a whole different conversation that happens when things are needed. And like, that's one of the things I learned in business school was that like, you know, what are you willing to do to be free? Not what you want to do. What are you willing to do? And music is like, people are like, man, I really want people to fuck with me. Like, and they'll be tight. Their music could be dope, but it's still, even the dopest of music will still kind of fall in that want category. And, you know, it works out for some people, but like, I see the value in something people need to have. And then you put on good customer service, building rapport. You put on these things that make it, and then they're just like, fuck, I needed that. And you set an expectation and hit it. Like it just makes it to where you get that repeat business.
I feel you. I also would say though, in a little contestment to
Please
it,
do.
Is that whatever you do, whatever it is, art, whatever, like, and you're trying to make money in it, you better believe that people need it. Like, whatever, like, I'm making this music, people need this music.
Yeah.
You have to have that ultimate belief in yourself and your product for it to be successful, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be like, oh yeah, this is,
nobody wants this.
yeah, like, you know, it's like, you have to have that confidence. Like, my music is important. Yeah. You know?
That is true. And that's probably why I, you know, that speaks a lot to why I don't make music anymore. Yeah. Is I must have, you know, I had that self-talk with myself and I guess I deemed it just not important. I had one homie that was telling me a big, huge idea and I dumbed his whole idea down. And I'm thinking I'm doing him a service. And he's just like, bro, I'm just, you know, you're thinking too small. Yeah. And you need, you know, I hear you, but you're just thinking too small. And I was just like, well, damn. You know what I mean? Okay. And he ain't done what he said he was going to do. And I guess what I was trying to say is that, like, you could probably maybe get there, but why don't you just do this in a small way? And then maybe you'll get to where you're going. I
connect the dots. Like, you can't just jump from one side of the ocean to the other. No. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, well, I guess you can't with a plane now, but yeah. But you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Like,
but I miss it. I do miss making music. I feel like I still have an ear for it. I still aspire. I still like freestyle a little bit and like mess around with myself and like I kind of push my son toward
outlet
it.
For you.
My son will get me back into music. I don't know how it's gonna work, but like he makes beats on his wall. Like the whole fist and the knuckle thing. And he's really good at it. He's 5 years old and he's really good at it. He has cool. like 3 beats in his pocket. You know, when you're little, you only got a couple. Yeah. And then also he does, I have like a little app where you can make beats on the phone and I'll give him it and I'll connect the phone to like the house. So it has like bass. Yeah. And so he'll sit there and he'll just sit there and make beats. And if I let him go, he'll do it for hours. And so I think he'll get me back into it. And then at that point, it'll have the passion element back to it. And then it'll kind of be the hobby / passion element to where like I don't mind dumping a little bit of like funds into
you
it.
have cash flow for it.
And if it grows, it grows. But like it won't have this whole like, nope, we're not doing that because it ain't gonna turn into income. And it's not, because when I'm personally just looking at it from me only, I'm like, fuck, if it ain't a business that's making money, I just can't do it. But if it's him and he's having fun and like he's getting his friends into it, like we'll build a fucking studio. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? But if it's just up to me, I can leave it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping one day he'll get me back into it. And when I say he'll get me, it's not on him. He can do it. Whatever he's into, I'm gonna wanna kind of
support him.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to support him in that. I hope it's some of the stuff that I've done in my life though too. So.
Well, I think it shows a lot of wisdom though too, because at the point that you probably cut ties on music, there was certain responsibilities, like you said, that had to be taken care of, and to let go of something that you love and maybe wanted, but like you said, it's not paying the bills. So I got to do what I got to do, and I think that's part of becoming a man too. It's not always about what you want to do. As much as we want it to be about that hardly ever works out for people. Like most people don't get to do what they want to do. And especially in every moment of every second of your life, you're not going to be doing what you want to do. There's just give and take. You have to earn to get to do what you want to do, basically. That's how I look at it. You got to earn it. You can't just get to do what you want to do all the time, because it's just not, I don't think, how life really works. You know what I'm saying? Like there's give and take, and it can be hard to walk away from something and to quit something, depending on how you look at it. But I think you have a healthy way of looking at it from the way you explained it to me, and you moved on to something that was more suited for you and your family. And, it doesn't really sound like there's any regret coming from the way you talk about it.
Yeah, I think about it every day, 7 days a week. I think about what I used to do, and, and when I see people drop music, I get a little bit just like, damn, that looks fun.
Yeah.
But, I don't look at it. I'm not envious of anybody. I'm not jealous.
Yeah.
Which is a big one.
Yeah.
Because, being envious or jealous, especially because, it'll happen within your circle. It'll like be your friends that you're kind of envious and jealous about. So I'm past that. But it's something that I think about every day, and I have a good relationship with the way I left it. And, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. And it actually feels good to say that, because I wasn't for a long time.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be hard.
It wasn't, because like people would bring it up, and people would be like, and then like there's also people who kind of knew me, and they'd be like, I have this one homie, you knew him, you had one interaction with him.
One?
Yeah. And you said some choice words. He won't listen. He won't listen to this, but he low key kind of hates on me.
Oh yeah.
That's all I'll say.
We'll have to talk off camera.
No. You know who I'm talking about. You only met him one time, and it was the most recent little walk we went on.
Oh,
and he low key kind of hates on me.
Yeah.
He's caught up now. He's like, oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he was just like, you fucked up. He's like, you fucked up. Like you threw away a big career, and you fucked up, and like you should feel stupid about that shit.
Yeah.
And like that's the type of conversation that would normally happen. And it's just like, bro, I feel like you're doing a little bit of reflecting and projecting right now, and I feel like maybe you fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you're trying to make sure that like I know that I failed at something, but little do you know is that like that I have a great relationship with my fails.
Yeah.
And so
yeah. I'd also say, like you said, projection, because like all that is, if somebody's trying to tear you down like that and tell you you're stupid because of the decision that you made, they ultimately really feel stupid about where their life is, and they just want to feel a little bit better than the next person.
Yep.
And that's all that ever is.
And it's an ongoing inner battle with whatever they're dealing with. This particular person that we're referring to, I know him well. He didn't, he's got some inner battles going on, and so like I kind of know where he's coming from that.
Yes.
And it's I actually don't. I know him so well. I don't even take it as like
personal,
not even close.
Yeah.
And he's a homie of mine.
Yeah.
But we were full of that juice. We were full of the psilocybin, and that's what came out. You know what I mean? And so it's about me being able to, where do I sit in my brain? And I don't think I fucked up because ain't no expiration date. I can make music, I can get back in, I can jump out and do whatever I want. Where I'd think I fucked up is if I hung in so long that I have nothing right now. That would be fucked up. He knows I didn't fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows. He ain't talking to me.
Yeah, you got a successful business.
He's talking to himself. You know what I mean?
I feel like a lot of people... Yeah,
and when you approach somebody who is trying to bring you down with like, oh word, that's how you feel, like, okay, well, like I fucked up, like tell me about, like that's how you feel, like how did I fuck up? When you approach them with that, they kind of are like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to explain this shit now. You know what I mean? They're not used to people being like, oh okay, like I fucked up. What's up? You know what I mean? They're not used to people owning their mistakes. And so when you can have that conversation with people, you can get them off your back a little bit, but they'll probably do it again. So it's once again, it's about surrounding yourself around the right people and having that inner self-worth. But people will try to bring you down, especially when you're on your way down. They're going to try to kick you, the people closest to you, they just know you the best. I don't even, speaking about being an entrepreneur, I don't even tell my mama when I come up. If I do well for a week, I don't even tell my mom, like there's certain things that like, it's just, you just keep to yourself. I kind of keep the lows and the highs. I kind of internalize those just for me. And then I try to give everybody like that main level. So at least that's just me. That's how I operate.
I think that's good as a man. I mean, you don't need to be telling everybody your business. It's something that I've had to learn because I feel like I can be very, maybe overly vulnerable with my life. You know what I mean? And like speaking on it and whatnot. And, like I have the idea of what a man should be to me. And that man is a man that does not speak too often. He doesn't speak irrationally. He doesn't speak loosely.
Doesn't work out his thoughts.
But he's effective when he does speak.
Yes.
And he does not keep beating the dead horse with things. And I can do that, I'll keep drilling in on something that really doesn't need to be drilled in, whether it's in my mind or whether I'm talking out loud to somebody. And so, just being careful with your words, choosing your words wisely, is something that I aspire to attain in life, as I grow as a man, is to be very effective with the way that I speak.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
It's very important. I aspire to do the same.
Because I noticed, and I've seen a lot, and I've done it. Like people just talk the talk, like they ain't even talking about anything. It's just like just talking to hear themselves talk. And the other thing that I want to be better at, and this is where not speaking as much comes into play. And like you said, having a podcast, gaining communication skills. Like I watch podcasts back now. I'm forcing myself to. I was kind of avoiding watching my own podcast, probably because of fear of watching myself and me seeing the things I don't like about myself and the way that I talk, or me saying certain words like too much or like whatever. I'm very judgmental of myself, But just like in snowboarding, when I watch film of me snowboarding, I notice the things I need to get better at. And so I've been watching some of my podcasts and I'm seeing a lot of different things where I'm like, okay, that right there is where I can speak more effectively. Those types of words don't need to be said over and over again because I'm just trying to kill time on the mic to think of my thought through, and so it's just learning these different things. But the other point that I was going to make is when you don't always feel the need to speak, you listen. And that's something that I also am doing this podcast for, is to learn the art of listening, like sitting here, calming my mind and hearing what the person sitting across from me is really saying, instead of me being in a position where I'm like, all right, I already know the next point I want to bring up as soon as he's done talking.
It's really tough.
And kind of needed in a podcast in a way, because you need to keep the conversation moving, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I think that the way that I have orchestrated my podcast is that it naturally takes its own life in each conversation. And so me listening ultimately is going to give me a deeper sense of how I should react to what was just said.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a learned skill to be a good listener. Mm-hmm. Everybody kind of knows what they're going to say before their person's talking is done. Right. It's a learned skill to be quiet and actually, and to take control of a conversation, just on the streets, in the open, talking about business, doing whatever. To take control of a conversation is a learned skill. It's not always the person who talks the most is in control. So
learn that.
Yeah. And then also, when you're dealing with somebody who's not a good conversationalist, it's pretty easy to take control. But other people are like, you're just like, oh shit, this dude knows how to just have a random interaction. Usually it's with the people you don't have anything invested in. Mm-hmm. So you'll just like meet somebody and you're so used to people spouting off garbage. Then you hear somebody talk and you're just like, oh fuck, this dude knows what he's, and then it makes, you're just like, okay, I'm talking to somebody, and it makes you want to continue to have that conversation with them. So
right.
I'd say you're one of those. I really try hard not to interrupt people. I try not to say, I try when I know I agree with somebody, I do more nonverbal head movements than I do say, oh yeah.
I just did it. See?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which brings me into this thing. An employee down at the shop, it's just off topic a little bit, but it kind of relates. The quest to be the person who already knows something is very dangerous. So like not being a student out here is fucking very dangerous. How is it dangerous? Well, it's dangerous in the sense that it doesn't allow you to learn because you already know. So like if somebody says, and I'll use this as an example, I've done this a couple times. Like I'm going to ask you, Bobby, are you aware that ice or that cold water put on a stove, like you run the cold instead of the hot, put on a stove, are you aware that that'll boil faster than like hot water out of the faucet? Were you aware of that? Like, did you know that?
I've always put cold water in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that at some point I was aware of that, but I may have forgotten that.
Okay, so the reason why I'm using that as an example is because it's not true. Okay? But the fact that I approached it with, did you know?
Yeah.
It makes you be like, I already know that. It's obviously not true. The water has to go through cold to get to hot and then boil. So the way like in a, not a perfect, but a good response to that in life or in any situation where you may know 60, 70, 80, 90% of something is to be like, tell me about it. Or like, what's that about? Or like, you know what I mean? And it's just this weird thing in society that makes it feel like the student in the room is inferior. It's a fucking trip.
Yeah.
And like when you wrap your brain around it and you move in a way like you're a student, people will be like, who the fuck's that guy? You know what I mean? Because you'll step in a room and you read it and you're just like, am I teaching or am I learning? You know what I mean? And like in a lot of rooms, most rooms, I'm a student and I'm sitting there like this and I'm like, oh, and I may know 90% of what they're talking about and I'll tell me more. You know, it'll take a long time for someone to learn I have a detail shop. If I run into them, I've done it before. Oh, I detail cars, bro. This is, I'll unpack their whole life and sit there and say, oh, that's tight. What does detail entail? How many cars you guys do a week? How many, you see what I'm saying? Low key, I'm in control of that conversation. And they're just telling me, and it's because I didn't nip it right in the beginning and say, oh, I already know.
Yeah.
And you can straight up learn so much by being the guy who's a student at everything. And it's a trip. And I feel like, and I'm a student at that lesson. And it's a hack. It is a hack in every situation to play possum in a tiny kind of minute way. And when you said that measures like a man, you know, and being able to say less words, that's instantly what I was kind of thinking right then, is that my measure of a man is somebody who doesn't just chime in and say, hey, I already know.
Yeah.
And you're really good at it. You're really good at being like, you thought about the boiling water thing much longer than most people. Most people go, yeah, I knew that. And then when I tell them that, then they have to backpedal.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, because I thought that maybe you was... And then they're like, you just did that on a podcast to me. You know what I mean? But really, all we have to do is just be students out here and then we'll protect ourselves. And so, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean.
Isn't that a trip?
Yeah. I was definitely thinking like, all right, Cody just pulled one on me.
No, but we bring it back because
I was like,
you have.
All right, we know who's in control of the conversation now,
God,
Cody.
Stop. No, but it's just one of those things where like I would only do it to people. People will low key be mad at you over that shit.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, you know.
Well,
what I mean?
that's why I didn't. I was like, this is a trick question.
This is a trick question.
I always do put cold water in.
Me too, by the way.
But I was like, I don't know if it really does go faster. And that's why I was like, I'm not sure if it does.
You answered it perfectly,
Yeah,
Bobby.
like,
you passed the test.
I'm not sure, man.
You passed the test. 90% of people will tell you what they know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they really don't even really know that. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I'm guilty of this.
People want to be in the know, right? And that's what you're speaking to. And we want to feel like we have the knowledge, that we're smart, whatever. And then once you've committed to an answer, whether it was right or wrong, you're going to stick to what you said to prove that you were right.
I'll fight you, bro.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
I had a homie growing up. Love this homie. Great dude. But he always would be lying to us about different products and things that he made up. Like, he'd be like, oh, yeah, did you see this new brand of skateboards? Like, what, bro? No. Like, so we started.
Oh, it had nothing to even do with him.
No, we like skateboard. He, might have been into it a little bit, but he would just try to, like, act like he was in the know of all these cool different products a lot of times growing up. This is, like, one example of what he would do.
Yes.
But, like, we started making up product names. Like, we'd make up a product name like, yo, dude, did you hear about those bearings, those 5000 XIs by some brand that we made up?
Yeah.
He'd be like, oh, yeah, dude, I read about those last night. Those are sick, bro.
Yeah.
Those things are supposed to
You
go
guys
this
would let
fast.
him go.
And we'd be like, bro, we just made that up. No, man, I seen it. I swear
And he'll
to
go
God.
with it
Yeah,
still.
like, he won't,
but they
will
do
not,
make those, though.
Will not break it. He will not break the lie, man, no matter what.
And like low key, people will start treating you like that when they figure out that you're the dude who acts like he knows everything.
Yep.
The way that you're interacted with is like,
for sure.
It's just like, no, they'll be laughing at you because it's like, he already knows. Don't even fuck around. Yeah. And we all got that homie in the circle who's like that. I'm not saying he's not valuable. I'm not saying I don't got love for that dude. I'm just saying that his conversation skills, his education, his growth is stifled by the fact that he his learning sponge is clogged up with I already know. I have it with employees all the time. Hey, don't forget to do those wheels in that window. Oh, okay, yeah, I was going to do those. And it's just like, okay, you know?
Yeah.
But then when the car goes outside and they're not done, it's like, see, you weren't, you know? And we just need to be careful to be students, you know, because like and be able to learn at things and always be take a moment to be like, I learned something today. And I value that a lot. I feel like other people would as well. And when somebody already knows something, I just let them know it.
Yeah, I agree, man. And it was being a student. Like I said, my homie was kind of going in on me about some things about myself this morning, and I just took it. Like,
Yes.
I'm gonna listen, man, and face these things that I don't probably really want to hear, but I know what he's saying is actually true, and I know that this dude wants to see me do well, so I'm not gonna be offended.
Yeah.
You know, even though my natural inclination is to be
just try to rebuttal all the stuff he says.
yeah, and also because I come from a background of don't disrespect. You know what I mean? And I had to decipher, like, he's not disrespecting me. He's just telling me what is the hard truth for me to hear. And I told him, I was like, thank you, bro, for telling me what you did, because most people don't have the courage to say that kind of stuff to me.
Yeah.
Like, most people, like, I think they see me and like, people that listen to this podcast know more about me now, you know what I'm saying, and how I think and how I feel. But my initial presentation to people is intimidating a lot of times. Like, I've heard that a lot throughout my life. Like, bro, you're intimidating, like this, that, and the third. And, I feel like that creates a lot of people not being direct with me because they're scared of how I might react or whatever. But like, I'm really not a aggressive person to people that have their best intention for me, and I always am down for the hard talk. Like, I'm always down for somebody to be like, brother, this is how I see you could be better.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that I'm gonna be like, oh well, thank you? Like, I'm gonna be stern in who I am as a man and what I've been through and what I stand on.
But if there's value there,
but I'm not gonna also not listen because you telling something that ultimately I know is true. Because, like, really, if you start feeling defensive, then already you pretty much know there's some truth in what's being told to you. Because if there was no truth, then you would, like, you're not going to take it as, like, you're not going to take it that way unless he's saying some seriously outlandish stuff that's like, bro. And
that it just goes back to what we were just saying. It's like you straight up, you sat there, you took it, and you were like, maybe there's something in here that I can get some value from, and it ended up being super valuable because you brought it up like 3 or 4 times about the lessons you learned just like while working out, and so that's good.
It's different when you say it to yourself.
Yes.
It's a whole other thing when somebody else tells you exactly what you've been eating at yourself about.
That's a trip.
And it's hard. It's harder to hear it from somebody else, even though it's the same fucking dialogue.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But to hear it from somebody else is hard, but it also is way more impactful. And for a person like me, it is ultimately something I need to hear. I like hearing that stuff from people because it gives me a deeper drive.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just me seeing it. This homie sees it too. And if this homie's seeing it, that's not acceptable to me. You know what I mean? Like, even though I've known he's seen it, but this is the first time, like, we had this conversation really like this. You know what I'm saying? And it was good and it was needed. And I'm thankful for it. It was hard for me to hear, though.
Yeah. It's those are the tough ones. Those are the real tough ones when people are telling you something and it's tough to hear, and you kind of question. You're just like, do I? And you're like, yeah, this is exactly what I needed right here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. Well, probably about at the end of our time. Is there anything else you want to share, man?
Just chase your dreams and be. I'd say chase your dreams. Get comfortable in your skin because you're going to be there a while. And if there's ever any value, if you took any value from anything I said, or you think that you want to run anything by or like check me on anything I said, or like please reach out and talk to me, because like I said, I love to learn. I love to just be a student out here in this stuff. And so like especially if there's anything about business or growth or anything like that, if you can add to, I would love to hear it. I'm sure you would as well. And
Definitely.
if you ever need this is our shameless plug, if you ever need a vehicle detailed, you're selling it or changing hands, look us up. We also operate a podcast in this exact same beautiful studio called Happy to Be Here. And if you're looking for a different style podcast, we smoke weed, we drink, and we're kind of a hoot on that podcast there. A little more.
Yeah, you guys are wild.
Yeah, we're a little more wild on that one. Please check us out there. But other than that, just, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, are you doing mobile detailing yet?
I'm not to that point yet.
The homie was asking when I was coming on today. So
Was he?
Like, yeah.
Is it somebody we both know?
Yeah, I'll tell you off camera.
Okay. Yeah, I think I promised that dude a mobile detail.
Yeah.
But see, that's how you get shit done, know. But yeah, no, I will get to that point one day. I'm gonna put together a trailer and do like a luxurious car wash type of thing where I come to you, wash your car and make it really easy for you. So when that launches, it'll be available. I have a brand new website we're putting out too. It's called My AutoSkin. It should be available probably by the time this episode drops. People should go check it out. It'll kind of just explain our process and stuff. And this whole time, 8 years in business, I've never had a website. Yeah. So that's like a thing for me.
Yeah.
So, but
that's big, man.
Yeah.
But also great you haven't needed one. A lot of businesses, like if you don't need it, you don't need it. But for growth and just like obviously this day and age, being an established business is like kind of have to have a nice website. So that's a good next step for you. Mm-hmm. You do ceramic coatings as well at AutoSkin. So he does. Can you kind of explain what that is for people?
Okay, so a ceramic coating is a hydrophobic barrier that you'd put over the top of a new car or a car that you really like or you spend a bunch of money on. Mm-hmm. So what that entails is it's a resin that's paired with alcohol. So essentially, once I make the vehicle look perfect and it's ready to come back to you, it's opportune time for me to apply this coating. What it is you slide it. The alcohol allows the resin to slide on your vehicle, and then of course you buff it clean with a hand towel. It's a process. You have to be trained up on it. We're certified to install it, and what it does is it creates a second barrier on your vehicle. We basically will cocoon your vehicle in this product, and then it's hydrophobic. Water beads right off. Bird droppings won't stick to it. Bugs barely stick to it. There's some maintenance involved, but essentially you have a detailed car that lasts for up to 5-10 years. Wow. So the coating that I offer the most is a 5-year coating. It runs between $1,200 and $1,500. And with that, once a year, you come back to me and I do what's called a refresh, where I correct any areas that may look a little off, and then we recoat it. And you want to hand wash them, but if you run them through the car wash every once in a while, it's not a huge deal. And it just gives you that gleam and lets you stand out. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, that's important. Some people, it's not. It's not a product that's for everybody. But if you're buying a new car and you're paying a bunch of money for it, it is a great way to keep the value up on the vehicle. Nice. A ceramic coating goes on the Carfax. So a lot of people don't quite understand that it does add a little bit of value to the vehicle when it's time to resell. So
nice.
So we do a lot of that as well.
Sweet.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for bringing that up too, because a lot of people have no idea what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. I figured we get it all out there. Well, that's my dog, my good friend, Cody Duncan. It's an honor having you on, brother. Thank you for your knowledge, your time.
Thank you.
I always love talking to you, man. I felt like there was some really good gems in there, and I always learn from you, man. There's always some really good insights that you have on business life, and just being lighthearted too, man. That's something that I really feel that I pick up from you, how you show up. It's always lighthearted, but there's real gems and knowledge that you also share at the same time without with keeping the energy still good in the room. You're able to have those conversations.
Thank
and
you.
I appreciate that, man. So once again, this is my dog, Cody Duncan. I'm Bobby J. This is City Chapters Podcast. Go check out AutoSkin if you need your car cleaned up and detailed. That's it. Until next time.
Appreciate it, y'all.